News. Lots of Sony PR that I was talking about at the top of the show. PSVR 2 is not looking too hot on the price board. We've got the PSVR 2 sitting at $549.99 and the console itself for $399. So that puts you just under $1,000.
Well, 500 if you want the disc edition.
True that. So that's over $1,000. How do you guys feel about that? Do you think it's too high? Do you think it's too low? I doubt so. Cicero, go ahead. You're our PlayStation asphyxiant.
Yeah, so
Exficient?
yes.
That's not the word.
It's one of the words.
You know, it is for this. A few weeks ago we were talking about PSVR 2 and
Exficiano?
and I was
Aficionado.
when they were announcing it. But you guys are still, it's like my kids are around. Like, it doesn't even matter that I'm talking anymore. So
I'm young enough to be a kid of yours, potentially.
Yeah,
He was 25 when Star Wars came out.
Yeah, I was 25 when Star Wars came out, and
All right, Cicero, go
25
ahead.
when
Sorry
Mike was
for
so
debackling us.
yeah. So it's quite all right.
Exficiano.
A few weeks back, I was
It's still wrong.
we were talking about Sony, and Sony officially announced their PSVR 2 and you know, talked about things, and I said at the time, like, they're positioning this to be expensive. And I was thinking at the time that they would make it as expensive potentially as the console, which was ridiculous, right? This is an accessory. There's no way that they could sell this at, 85 or 80% of the cost of the console and think that that's a good investment.
But now the console is the accessory.
It's right. It is right. The console is the accessory to the PSVR 2, which is ridiculous, especially when you look at the fact that most of the games that they were showcasing on for PSVR 2 and what it can handle are games that I've been playing on my Meta Quest or my Oculus Quest, whatever you want to call it, for years. And many of those games I was able to play on PSVR. And now I'm going to have to buy again, right? On top of paying more money than the price of the premium console.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It is outrageous that Sony has put themselves back in the same position where they're saying, hey, if you really want it, you'll get a second job. As inflation is out of control, as all of these things are, like all of these different factors are sitting out there staring everyone in the face, the fact that they would continue to release a product, if they felt like this product was a premium product, they felt like this product needed to be released, to not hold this product or to not bundle it with lots of different things or figure out ways to aggressively pack it in with the console or with something else to make it more palatable is outrageously egregious.
Yeah, I'm glad you went there. That was going to be my follow-up to Mike here. What could they have bundled it with to make it okay for that price? Like, what could they have put with it to make that price point sit right with fans?
I mean, nothing. I don't think it's okay. Even if I don't think at $550 it is okay, even if you bundle it. I think that $500 should have been the price. I think it should have been the same as the premium console. But they should have figured out a way to have backwards compatibility. They needed to respect the original PSVR, people who bought into that particular product, and to have it this way. The reason why I say it should have been $500 is because of the technology that they are trying to implement into this. It's probably going to be one of the better headsets when it does come out, but it should not have been as high or above, the console itself. Like you're talking about spending $1,050 without tax to just buy into this peripheral. That's outrageous. Personally, I would have loved to see it at 400, where it had the price parity with the MetaQuest 2, which is at 400 right now. But I think that with their tech, they probably saw that they couldn't go below 500, and then they decided to screw over everybody that wanted to get into this and put it at 550. It is, as Cicero said, it is absolutely egregious. The fact that not even one game is bundled with the 550, let alone there's a $600 bundle that comes with Horizon, is also egregious. There's no way, like, the attach rate for the PSVR is at 5%.
5%, yeah.
There's no way this is beating that. There's no way. Absolutely no way.
Yeah, you almost sound like an officio taco for Sony.
I was just gonna say, if they did 550 with a super aggressive digital bonus, right? $200 or $150 in digital credit for VR games in the store, I still don't think that would make it.
Because it costs them nothing to do that.
Right. They lose a little bit of money, but not the amount of money that they're going to lose. Right.
Yeah.
Not the amount of money that they're going to lose if they mass produce this product and expect it to sell.
But really quick, Justin, before you jump in, Cicero is totally right. Sony is starting to get into the mindset that they were in with PlayStation 3 era.
Right.
They're like, we are the market leader. We know what we're doing. We've sold bajillions PS2s. And so we're going to jack the price up of the PS3 and be $600. Oh, we're the market leader. People love PS5s. We can't seem to keep them on the shelves. So we're going to announce a peripheral for $50 more than the console that it needs to run. It's egregious.
At the same time, we get details about the Quest Pro, which is the next big high-end MetaQuest competitor. Well, same company, but future, sitting at $1,500. And if you throw down an extra $400 or $450 from this price, you'd have that. And honestly, the previews for that with the back compatible library that I already have sounds like a better option. You get that mobile pass through that's just like stellar.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous how that looks.
If I was into VR and I didn't have a PS5, and my choices were get a PSVR 2 with a PS5 at $1,100, or spend $1,500 and get a MetaQuest Pro, it's a no-brainer. You get the MetaQuest Pro.
Yeah. No, it's a no-brainer. You just get the PS5 and experience games with a controller.
Well, if you had to get one headset, right, and you already have a back catalog of games, not even including the Steam Link, which is possible with the MetaQuest, not Crust. You would go with the Quest Pro, honestly, and then
100%.
Even the videos alone of the advertising that they've shown has shown the Quest Pro looks way better than Sony VR.
Right.
Sadly. And I wish they would have highlighted some first-party games. Nothing. All stuff that we already have been playing for years.
The thing also, Justin, is that the games that I personally, Justin knows this, and Cicero, you know this, or now you will know this. I'm never going to buy into VR. It gets me sick. Justin showed me PSVR 1, and I played Gran Turismo, and I got sick like instantaneously. Not like to the point of throwing up, but I was feeling queasy. But
now,
regardless, so I'm
move the left stick.
I'm crashing into the wall.
Regardless, I'm not going to buy into this ecosystem ever. That's just not what I'm going to do. But the games that I would want to play are games like Superhot, Beat Saber, ones that aren't necessarily going for this certain level of realism that I don't need. Let alone, I don't need the PSVR 2, let alone, the $1,500 one. I'll just go with the MetaQuest 2 The one that is $400, yeah, that's a steep price for me. But if I wanted to play Beat Saber, not only that, it comes with Beat Saber. It's packed in at $400. Like, yeah.
And which is exactly, and and that's the thing that Sony could have looked at what Meta wound up doing, right? They raised the price of the hardware, and they were like, oh, okay, we raised the price of the hardware because we kind of had to, but we've got all these digital codes of what are we gonna do with all these digital codes of Beat Saber? Oh, let's just throw them in, right? Like, and again, it doesn't, it's marginal. Yeah. It's marginal what that cost them
exactly
to do that. But what it does is it makes the price increase more palatable so that they can still move units. And if you're telling me, in order for me to get this headset, I've got to spend more money than I spent on my console. That, disregard the fact that personally I have a digital console, so they're asking me to spend almost half of the price more than the price of my console to buy this headset, this peripheral for the console. Right. But on top of that, if I had PSVR, all of my software that I had before is null and void. I can't use it. It's trash. So I've got to rebuy that stuff.
Yeah.
And on top of that, the vast majority of the software that you have available for me to purchase is stuff I've already bought on my previous VR headset that I only spent $200 on, right? And it looks just as good, right? And I've got all the same, right? And I've got all the same functionality, and I don't need my stupid $400 console in order to use it, right? I can walk around with it. So like you're not winning in any stretch of the imagination, and at no point did anybody at Sony say, "Hey, maybe we need to figure out some concessions," right? Because we're going to be asking a lot of our consumers to purchase this. Maybe, and we're putting a lot of limitations on it. Maybe we can figure out a way to make this more palatable for them, and they haven't figured that part out. I don't think they're going to figure that part out because they have reverted back to the PS3 mindset, and they haven't learned from that, apparently.
I definitely foresee PSVR 2s sitting on the shelves and PlayStation 5 still nowhere to be seen in the near future. All right, some more sad PlayStation news. PlayStation Plus has lost 1.9 million subscribers. Almost 55% of their player base did not subscribe. Cicero, what keeps you around, being the Sony aficionado taco supreme of us? What makes you stick around? Because I know you're subbed, right, to the PlayStation Plus.
I am subbed. I think I just renewed.
He doesn't know
so
what
you're
he's
in that
to,
45%. Yeah.
Right.
Plus extreme blue, whatever.
Yeah, right. So what keeps me subbed? Inertia. And my love for the Test Your Mic community, right? Like it's being able to accurately report on what these things are, so you guys don't have to. Nobody's giving me free money to do this stuff, but I'm doing it anyway. Nice. But also, I'm lazy, right? So I signed up for the thing because it was only gonna cost me extra $30. And then, I used it a few times, was like, oh, this is dumb. And then I got an email saying, hey, we're going to renew in a little while. I was like, oh, yeah, I got to remember to figure something out about what I'm going to do with that. And then it renewed. And I'm like, all right, I guess I'm here now. So, maybe next year I'll really spend some time thinking about whether or not this is a smart decision. The answer is no. Because there really isn't anything there. I have not found the value in this service yet, and outside of curiosities, right? Like, oh, there are some PS2 games that I can stream and check out, and that's fun for a weekend or a night or whatever, or just had one too many beers and I just want to check that kind of stuff out. But like, it doesn't really add any value to my life. It definitely isn't. When you compare it to Game Pass, it definitely doesn't resonate the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, Sony on the PlayStation home screen doesn't do a great job of promoting it in the same way that Game Pass is promoted on the home screen on the Xbox. Mm-hmm. So I think from many different data points, Sony doesn't know what they're doing with their subscription service, and in much the same way that Warner Brothers really kind of fumbled the bag on the DCEU, where they were looking and saying, "Ooh, I see all this money that Marvel is making with their MCEU. We should do the same thing. Let's do the same thing." And they just tried to rush it out there without really being thoughtful about what it is that they were trying to present.
And James Gunn
and having
so I'm excited.
right and have a cohesive. Hey, but it might be a little too late. But like having a cohesive vision and showing and giving that the space to breathe and present that to your consumers. Sony did the same thing. They saw Game Pass. Game Pass was making a lot of money. First they said, "Oh, we're not going to do subscriptions, whatever." Then they came out and was like, "Oh no, Game Pass is actually doing work. We need that too." And they just bundled all the other crappy services that they had together and was like, "Here, give us more money." And now you've got a service and it doesn't work. And most subscribers, not dummies like me, are speaking with their wallets by saying, "No thanks."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely agree. Mike, how could they fix it? How could they get those subscribers back? How could they get the subscriptions back? What could they offer that would fix that issue?
One less tier. I think that it's too confusing right now. If they take away one tier and then whatever was in that one tier, put it into the other tiers, I think that will sort of help the subscriber base. I don't necessarily, although one of the draws of Game Pass is obviously day one releases, right? But I don't necessarily think Sony needs that. I just think that they need more of a palatable thing. Like, what actually am I paying for? One thing that I think, even if they don't start doing day one things, what they do need to do is start including the PS5 versions of games. Because, Cicero, I know maybe you could correct me if I'm wrong, but there are games that have PS5 versions that are in the service, but it's in the service, it's only the PS4 version that you could play. And that is probably the most egregious out of all of this, because a lot of the games that I think a lot of these 2 million subscribers would want to play, they want to play the best version possible, and that's not in the service. So why am I going to subscribe to this, especially when most of the games that I play online nowadays are free to play, and Sony doesn't require me to have this in order to play those games free to play. Xbox doesn't now either. They used to require gold, but Sony's always done that. So yeah, I mean, you asked me the one thing that they need to do, and they just need to get rid of one of the tiers, because as Cicero said, Game Pass is marketable because it's literally Game Pass. You buy it, you get the games. This is PS Plus. Wait, which one am I subscribing to? Like, there's a bajillion and I don't know what I'm getting. So
yeah,
they need to make it more concise.
Funny thing about marketing is Xbox and Microsoft don't really market Game Pass. They market games that are coming to it. They don't have an advertisement for it specifically, and I haven't seen one yet anyway. I saw
there's a tile on the home screen, and then there's always another tile with like current games that, the hot new games.
But I mean, like, that's for people with consoles. For the general public that don't have gaming consoles, there's no TV advertisement that they're going to see. Now, sure. I did see a TikTok, funny enough, that was Samsung TVs advertising Game Pass through their ad for Microsoft because of the tile that's going to be on Samsung smart TVs coming. So yeah, It's interesting. Definitely a one tier would help. I think day one releases would be very beneficial to keeping a fan base.
I mean,
Well, yeah,
it will be beneficial, but I don't know if Sony. First of all, Sony's not going to do that. They're just
Yes,
not.
true.
Secondly, I don't know if you need that to fix. That's what I meant with the question. Like I think it just needs to be a palatable thing that you're signing up for. Like, what am I actually paying for?
Well, I mean, to that point, I don't know what I get, right? I just know that whatever it is that they offer, I've got all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Like, I know there's game demos, and I can stream legacy games from legacy consoles, and there are games that are available to me. I don't know what any of that stuff is. But if they were giving me day one first party games, I'd know that.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
I know that. I'd know that would be a thing that would make me log into my console every month to check out what or when, God of War is releasing. I know that I would be on my PS5 downloading God of War because I've got the subscription and I know that I can play that.
All right.
But I don't know what I get.
I don't know. Sony's over there tripping and falling, it seems like. Unless they're, they are the market leader, so maybe they know what they're doing. I don't know.
Right.
Onto the leaderboard.
They're gonna block this Activision Blizzard deal, and then all of it.
Not something I've been speaking of since 2021. I don't want to see that happen. That'd be sad.